Oh my goodness. Alright guys, I'm going to apologize for the noises of middle-class American suburbia and for the ashiness of my knees, but this is a compelling video for me to make today for you guys. This is my van battery that I just got in the mail. I'm really happy about this. Prices of everything went up, so I decided to go with it, and I'll tell you guys exactly what I did. This is a budget Chinese, I say LiPo4, it's LiPo4 battery. It's by one of these weird kind of companies. You have no idea what it really says, but it's just obviously a copy of all the other ones. Now, there was a major red flag when it came to this specific battery. Of all the batteries they have listed, this is the one that I got. I guess it's the biggest one that they make. Comes with the necessary, I think these are 8mm screws. Well, I'll have to check the manual for sure. You know, I don't care about that stuff. Oh, wow. You guys are gonna love this. Or at least I am. One, two, three. Oh, shoot. It's... Oh. That's enough weight for everybody. Oh, let's get her out of there. This is the IDIZOL-D 12.8 volt 314 amp hour LiPo4, as I always say, but it's LiPo4 lithium iron phosphate battery. Just gonna try to clear it out here a little bit. Oh, that's not happening. Reasons being for why I decided to get this battery. I'm building a van and I needed some juice, a lot of juice, and the price of everything went up, but I decided to go cheap. I knew what was at stake. Bigger brand, you pay more, but you get more peace of mind that you're actually getting what you're paying for, and what you're paying for is gonna last. I did have two Dumthum, however you want to pronounce it. They were 100 amp hour batteries, and that was back when prices were good and quality was probably better too. I think I'm gonna weigh this, because my big whoop-ha for this video is the fact that I thought that I could tell if it was going to be a quality battery or not based on the weight of the battery. One of the reasons why I like this battery, for the size of the battery, for the dimensions, doing a van build, I needed something compact. There's a lot of these batteries, when you look at the teardown videos, there's a lot of space inside of the case. This is surprising when you tear it down. There isn't a lot of airspace or insulation between the actual cells of the battery and the wall. So they're very compact. They actually use all the space for the capacity. That's why I like this battery. There's the 300s and the 314. They're in the same size case. You know, it's kind of funny because it's like the degree of a circle or whatever. 3.14. I really wanted to get one that was internally heated. Maybe it's better to externally heat your batteries in a cold environment if you really need it. I like the internal heating. It uses less power to internally heat your batteries than to externally heat them. It all depends on what you really want. Where I want to put these batteries on my chassis of my van is in such a location that it's very tight. What's funny is these things on the sides here, the brackets for the strap, they're gonna have to get shaved down. I have just enough space for the crown of this case. Barely at that much. But over here, it's not gonna happen. Barely. There is a chance. It depends on how I plan on doing this. But I actually want 10 of these. This is on my van build. 314 on paper. It should mean approximately 4 kilowatt hours. So that's what I wanted to work around. And it's funny because I had a power bank. You guys have probably seen the video of me using it. I had an AC70 and I was like, man, I know I'm wasting time here and wasting money using a power bank when for the same size as the power bank, it could just be all battery. From my application, I didn't need to have my power station be portable. And that's what a lot of people buy into. But if you look at a lot of people's applications for their power bank, it's because they just wanted the convenience of having an all-in-one system, not because they really needed it to be portable. And so you're spending a lot of money there. It could go into just something that has all the capacity, and then you just get a DIY system with your own inverter and your own chargers, whether it be solar or wall plug or alternator. And because it's a van, alternator charging is really the direction I want to go in. So I don't need that much portability, especially because it's already a mobile platform. Another thing too is people buy power stations for their vans thinking that conveniences is what they're going to get. I think a lot of that needs a reevaluation. Again, I plan on getting 10 of these, fitting them in various places throughout the van in such a way that it doesn't, like, you know, prohibit the internal space. I probably don't need 10. I probably would get by with like 4, 5, 6, 7, something like that. Even 4 of these is 20 kilowatts. and that's bigger than a lot of, you know, really nice van build systems, sprinter build systems that you see. So, and I really want to make a good impression with my van build because it's not a sprinter, and everybody's like, oh, well, if you're going to do that, when are you going to get a sprinter? Getting off track. I'm not going to test this right now. I'm going to do my own kind of homemade test to see if it works for my application. This is not a capacity test. The plan here is really just to get it to run my laptop and my desktop in my van so that I could study and work from the van. Also to run my portable air conditioner, my cooler, or my refrigerator, switching over from a 12-volt cooler to a 120-volt refrigerator, everything basically running off of my inverter. I needed to have a really big compact battery. Here's the thing, right? This is a cheaper battery, and I would say if there's anything consistent with all the more expensive batteries, a 314 amp hour battery, is that they're all 57 pounds. It wasn't until I came up with that idea as a standard to check that I had already hit the ship button. So when I was tracking the shipping, it said that it was 53 pounds, and my heart kind of sank. At that point, I mean, anybody's gonna say this is just a straight out, you know, bargain just because I got it for the price that I got it for, way under $400, you know, when other batteries this size is going over $100, $500. So even if I did get reduced capacity, and you know, the companies, they do this, okay? It is what it is. They do this. Anybody would still say it's a bargain, but I will be honest, I do want this to be what the label says it is, even at the price that I paid. And even though this is not Watt Cycle, SOC, Victron, or, well, Victron doesn't really make one of these. And it's kind of funny because Victron does make a 270 amp hour battery that's internally heated, but even at that rate, it shouldn't cost $2,700 to $3,000. There's that. I wouldn't, you know, it's whatever, right? But I am disappointed that this is 53 pounds and not 57 pounds. I like this battery because it's about the same size as a 100 amp hour battery, but it's 3 times the capacity. And one of the biggest tells is the weight. A 314 amp hour, 12.8 volt battery is usually 57 pounds. So if they're gonna cut any corners, and if I'm gonna be able to tell that they've cut corners, I would assume that's including the entire packaging, the box, everything. That's the shipping weight. That's not the weight of the actual unit. This unit is supposed to be 57 pounds, but if the entire package shipped is 53 pounds, I believe I got scammed. Anyway, so we're gonna put this on the scale, and that's gonna be my tell for the day and for the video. And I'll do a separate video where I hook it up in my system. I'm gonna go with a Renogy system. You can have your ifs and such about that, and we'll see if it works out for my application running my high output equipment. I'm just so happy to see it, also because I got it on Temu, and I was really skeptical about buying on Temu. I was really scared I was gonna get scammed. But it's here, and it's heavy, but I bet $1 million this is a 3840 battery, and I just paid extra. And I mean, I am kind of making a big deal out of a few 200 watt hours, but still, bro, I mean, just don't lie. What is with you guys lying? And you know what they're doing? They keep sending good units to people that ask for a unit to review because they can control that quality if you're sending an invoice. But if it's the masses and nobody with a name, like the little guy, then there's a lot of advantage that can be taken. So I got a scale. Nothing crazy, just a regular old scale. I think it's a little bit out of whack, I'm not sure. No, it's fine. Alright, now that it's on a solid surface, we are going to give this a test and see if it's 57, if it's 53, if that was just packaging. We don't know what to expect here. Okay. I don't know if you guys can see from there. Oh, this is a pleasant surprise. I don't know if you guys can see there. I don't want to push it off the scale. But that's a very pleasant sight, actually. Guess I'm not entirely scammed. Just based on weight. Okay, purely based on weight. So I guess the shipping weight was incorrect or not very accurate. I thought, man, what in the world did I just buy? Did I just get myself into a $300 scam? Like, what? But, wait, hold on. Let me just take this off one more time here. See, because the scales are usually off by a little bit. Exactly. That's a bit more accurate. Gotta knock it down a little bit. Maybe a tad, just a tad bit more. Right? And it's not perfect. One more time here. That's a little better. So yeah, I think it is actually 57 pounds, the way it should be. The way that the bigger brand batteries, I assume, always are. But yeah, that's just we'd have to do a real capacity test, because this means really nothing. But I just want to make a video kind of fun based on stuff like that. Numbers on paper and what we get when we get it in the mail. So thanks for watching. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and do so. I make lots of content that's really down to earth, and not afraid to get into areas that don't always look most trendy. But yeah,